Today's topic is differentiated teaching. Before we get into that particular strategy, there's a few more tips to think about when thinking about co-teaching. Co-teaching is like a marriage. There needs to be a lot of communication for the partnership to be successful. Here are some ways for a school to begin bringing co-teaching inside the door. First of all, start small. Get people to volunteer to take teacher candidates and are willing and told this will not be a typical student teaching experience. Place value on co-teaching as one of many inclusive practices for the future benefit of the profession with new teachers as well as improved learning for the K-12 student. Practice teaching each other equal. The mentor teacher has more knowledge and experience, but the teacher candidate has the latest in educational reform and head knowledge. Share together for the best instruction for the students. Find time to plan. It all sounds good theoretically, but those of us that have taught for a number of years realize that time is precious. I suggest 45 minutes to an hour a week, more if you can spare. Set a day and time, maybe even off campus, for this planning. This does not need to be detailed to the individual lesson, but a weekly overview of units, which co-teaching strategies to implement, and who will plan those lessons. Remember, not all lessons need to be co-taught. And finally, communicate, communicate, and communicate. Differentiated teaching strategies provide two or more different approaches to teaching the same information. The learning outcome is the same for all students. However, the avenue for getting there is different. What really is differentiated instruction? Carol Tomlinson says it is having a vision of success for students, providing a variety of assignments within units of instruction, realizing that students do not all learn in the same way. Recognizing the variance in learning styles of our students, also allowing students to choose, with teacher direction, the route to their own learning. It's providing opportunities for students to demonstrate proficiency in an area they already know and allowing themselves to move forward. And then it's offered tiered lessons of varying degrees of difficulty, dealing with similar content. Differentiated instruction is not individualization. It is not a different lesson for each student each day. It is not giving all students the same work or even identical assessments all the time. It's not assuming that all students learn by listening. It's not by merely having centers in the classroom. It's not assigning more work to students who have demonstrated mastery in an area. And it's not only for students who demonstrate a need for acceleration. Do you know your students? That is a key point as a mentor, teacher, and teacher candidate break instruction into smaller group learning for students in the classroom. Tomlinson suggests that differentiation can occur within one or more of the following classroom elements: content, process, product, affect, and learning environment. Instruction can be further broken down based on 3 student characteristics of readiness, interest, and their learning profile. Readiness is assessed by determining a student's current knowledge, understanding, and skill as it relates to what's being studied. Interest is apparent by observing what a student enjoys learning about, thinking about, and doing. And the learning profile means a student's preferred model of learning is influenced by factors such as learning style, intelligence, preference, gender, and culture. One of the pros I see with this co-teaching strategy is that it allows a teacher to analyze his or her classroom using a variety of learning style inventories. Like our students, our individual classrooms change with each group of students, thus lessons need to be modified each time we teach them. Another pro is that more students could be taught in a manner that suits their learning style. You increase learning just by dividing a class, even if the division is not equal or right down the middle. Teachers can vary instruction through flexible grouping. They can use whole class instruction, small group instruction, and individual instruction, as well as ability groups. The use of tiered assignments allows students different routes to the same goal. Some of the cons have to do with lack of clear objectives, lack of planning, and no links to assessment, which is kind of a con to every poorly planned lesson. And differentiated teaching is not individualized teaching. There are some assessment strategies that can work. Using multiple intelligences strategies. Use media, the document camera, sound enhancement for visual learners. Focus on outcomes and assessment. Both approaches have agreed upon outcomes that can be measured. Use different materials. Use different reflections. Address curricular expectations of the district or the school. Allow exceptional students working at different rates and those who struggle to get more concentrated assistance. This is good for projects. It's good for rotating or not rotating. It's a way to develop student leaders. Small groups can be taught with different strategies. You can use movement as an assessment strategy, and as always, use manipulatives. This is differentiated teaching.